Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Sorry we're a little late. And Senator Warnock was supposed to join us but can't be here right now. But I want to thank Senator Murray. So, right now, we're exactly 14 days away from a government funding deadline. Democrats do not want a government shutdown. We've asked Republican leadership multiple times to meet with us to start negotiating. Speaker Johnson says he hopes Democrats won't politicize the process, but he's already politicized it by refusing our multiple requests to sit down and talk, and doing his own CR without a single conversation with Democrats. That is a partisan proposal. And then there's President Trump. I want to say something very clear about something. When President Trump goes on Fox News and says to Republicans, don't even bother dealing with them, meaning us, don't even bother dealing with Democrats, when he says out loud he doesn't need or want our votes, that means Donald Trump wants a shutdown. Full stop. Trump also said on Fox and Friends, all he needs is Republican votes. He's wrong. He either doesn't know how to count or he doesn't know how Congress works. Even though Republican congressional leaders know full well they need Democratic votes to keep the government open, Trump made a decree, and today we see congressional Republicans have obeyed. He's telling Republicans to fight back against the, quote, radical left Democratic demands. He's telling Republicans to vote yes on a partisan CR that fails to meet the needs of the American people. These are the kinds of actions a president takes when he wants a shutdown: closing negotiations, forcing partisan votes, ignoring the urgent need to address skyrocketing costs, including health care costs and so many other issues that affect the American people. It's clear Leader Thune, Speaker Johnson are doing exactly what Donald Trump wants. Our Republican colleagues can say whatever they want. Like today, when Thune said I haven't asked him to meet with him or he hasn't heard from me. Give me a break. We have asked to meet with Thune and Johnson for over 6 weeks, over and over again. So look, our Republican colleagues can say whatever they want, but it is clear, as could be, that they took their marching orders and are marching us directly into a shutdown. Look no further than the House Republican-only spending bill released today. The bill fails to meet the needs of the American people, does nothing to stop the looming health care crisis. At a time when families are being squeezed by higher costs, Republicans are refusing to stop Americans from facing double-digit hikes in their health care premiums. They don't want to do anything about the crisis they have created for our hospitals, for our citizenry who need health care, and there's been an outcry from hospitals, hospital workers, and patients from one end of the country to the other, but the Republicans do nothing about it. They don't want to do anything about the fact that people's health care is very soon going to skyrocket, hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And they don't want to stop the rampant and illegal abuses of Donald Trump when he illegally steals or cancels congressionally approved funding for medical research and a litany of other things. By refusing to sit down with Democrats, Republicans are telling the American people they're happy to help Donald Trump burn this country down, and they're happy to let the government shut down. Americans respect Republicans who control the House, Senate, and White House to sit down, to negotiate as any responsible leaders would do. They expect Republicans to do their job. In the Senate, it takes 60 votes to pass for anything like this to pass. That means you need the votes, Democratic votes. That's just a fact. If Trump refuses to let the Republicans negotiate, then it's Trump's shutdown. Instead of governing, Republicans are once again taking orders from Trump, hurting the American people, and recklessly marching our nation to a shutdown. Patty.
What?
What's the matter?
Could have grabbed it.
Could have. Look.
Oh. Where is he? He's the leader. He should be coming right over here.
Stick to him on the floor.
Yeah.
We're waiting. Look, I have been clear. If Republicans want Democratic votes, it's on them to work with us. There is nothing partisan or extreme about saying, let's negotiate. That's not some unreasonable demand. It is a pretty basic principle. Ranking Member DeLauro and I stand ready to continue our bipartisan Four Corners work that Speaker Johnson called an end to. Ranking Member DeLauro and I remain focused on a bipartisan CR that addresses the illegal pocket rescissions and other impoundments. If House Republican leadership wants to go it alone, Republicans should not count on any Democratic votes. So if Republicans want to prevent a shutdown, a good place to start is by continuing to talk with Democrats. Because as I have said repeatedly, Democrats want to help the people that we represent. We stand ready to pass funding bills that address the cost of the living crisis, that protect the funding families count on for childcare, groceries, and more. We stand ready to make sure Congress, not Trump or Russ Vought, decides how our taxpayer dollars are spent. And we stand ready to negotiate legislation to address the healthcare crisis that Republicans have created. Now, over the weekend, I had conversations with the Four Corners of Appropriations about a bipartisan CR. But Republican leadership has, for weeks, refused to meet with Democratic leadership to discuss the path forward. And now it seems they have made up their mind. President Trump made his marching orders plain as day, saying, quote, "Don't even bother dealing with them." Don't even bother. That's what he said. And in other words, Trump does not want a deal. He doesn't want legislation. He doesn't want negotiation. He doesn't care if a shutdown hurts people. And Republican leadership is once again following his orders. So House Republicans have now chosen the partisan path, deciding that they would rather cause a shutdown than so much as continue to negotiate with Democrats on a bipartisan CR. Well, I've got some news for Republicans. If you follow Trump's orders and don't even bother dealing with Democrats, and you suddenly find you don't have the votes you need to fund the government, that is a Republican shutdown. Meanwhile, Republicans have made it pretty clear they will do literally anything except lower the cost of health care. They see premiums are set to skyrocket, and they're content to twiddle their thumbs in response. Hospitals are already closing because of the big, ugly bill they passed, and they have zero sense of urgency. There could not be a bigger contrast with Democrats. Now, getting back to the task of funding the government, Republicans have a choice to make. Are they going to do what Donald Trump wants? Are they going to decide against working together and push America into a shutdown? Or are they going to do the responsible thing, the thing that is best for the American people, and sit down with Democratic leadership to actually write a bill together that funds the government and protects resources for our schools, for cancer research, for clean water, and other priorities that Democrats are fighting for, such as lowering the cost of health care, because these things really do matter to the people we represent. I know what I want to do. I know what the people back home expect us to do, and that is work together and pass legislation that helps people and solves problems Americans are facing right now. Now, let me be clear. The top appropriators were in discussion about our appropriation bills, but we were firm from the entire time that the leaders of our caucuses needed to have the say on final negotiations. Cole pulled out, and they have now produced a one-sided CR. Where are Republican leaders? If Republicans can't even sit down with leaders Schumer and Jeffries to simply have a conversation, then they cannot govern. Real leaders don't do negotiation through carrier pigeons. They don't outright ignore their colleagues when they ask for a meeting. To Leader Thune and to Speaker Johnson, get in a room with our Democratic leaders. Talk it out. That is a concept Americans understand.
Senator Murray, thank you. Okay. Bolton.